Okay, welcome today. It's my pleasure to have with me today in the series I'm calling Reflections from Pharmacy Leaders Advancing the Profession. With us, Dr. Magali Rodriguez de Bittner, who is professor and executive director of the Center for Innovative Pharmacy Solutions of the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy. She's recognized as a leader in the development of clinical pharmacy services, especially in community pharmacy, especially with chronic disease state management. She has served on the APHA Board of Directors and also the APHA Foundation Board of Directors, where she was president of that board. She's recognized with the APHA's Daniel Smith Practice Excellence Award. So it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. de Bittner.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, we'll start off. We'd like to learn more about your journey in your position and recognition as a leader. And when you respond to this, you may wish to reflect on key events or people who influence you in your journey.
Okay. So you want me to start?
Yep.
Okay. So first of all, thank you, Terry, for giving me the opportunity to share and to be part of this series that you're producing. So the first thing is that, when I reflect in, my journeys, all right, is one that is really sometimes very amazing to me because I never thought that my career will take me where I've been. So I'm originally from Puerto Rico, so I did my bachelor's degree there. And then I decided back then that I wanted to pursue my PharmD. So I ended up at the University of Maryland School of Pharmacy, knowing no one. I had no family members in Maryland, knew nothing about Maryland, about the state, but decided that I wanted to do it. So I came to Maryland, I finished my PharmD, I was able to do a residency at the VA hospital. And then this great opportunity came where one of the people that I have to mention as part of my trajectory is Dr. Robert Kerr. Many of you know him. So at that point, there was a faculty position that opened at the University of Maryland, working at the same time with the VA hospital as a clinician. And I started my career 35 years ago. It's going to be in August in academia. Again, very lucky that I was given that opportunity to work with the students, to really continue my clinical passion in ambulatory care and taking care of those patients. And then as I started evolving as part of my academic career, I'm always very passionate about pharmacy services and very passionate about demonstrating that pharmacists could really be a great solution in my mind in healthcare, not only to improve outcomes, but really to contain and maximize a cost of therapy. So started working in the clinics, doing a lot of work. And then one of the things that, happened to me is that I started to realize that it's very important, and that would be one of my key messages, is that you start to develop goals for you and objectives. Where did you want to be? What did you want to do? So I started thinking about, getting involved in pharmacy organizations. So I started to do that. And then through that journey, that also took me to the AACP Fellows Program. I am one of the in the first cohort. So when that just, the inaugural class. And then, working with my dean at that time, David Knapp, I think that Dave saw in me the potential to be in more leadership positions. So Dave gave me the opportunity to become the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at a moment where all of these issues of assessment were starting to come to light. And I'm always very grateful to him because he saw in me something and he gave me that opportunity. And at that time, Terry, is really fascinating that when I looked at the roster of Associate Dean for Academic Affairs nationwide, I was probably one of the first Hispanic women in that position. So really, it took a lot of trust on me from him to be able to give me that role. Then from there, I continued to work in leadership, continue my clinical passion. I never, as associate dean or later as chair, gave up my clinical duties. And then from there, I became a chair of the Department of Pharmacy Practice and Science, the largest department at the School of Pharmacy at that moment. And then, one in which I grew up. So it was really fascinating to be a student with a lot of my colleagues, then become a colleague, and then become, at that moment, the chair of the department. And then from there, now I really went back to associate dean. So I'm serving as associate dean for clinical services and practice transformation at the school. And again, I have to do kudos to my dean, Natalie Eddington, that also saw in me the opportunity to continue to develop that area of pharmacy. And then more recently, really leading an effort that we have that is called pharmapreneurship. So I am really working with students, with faculty, with other stakeholders to really move that entrepreneurship activities within the school under the umbrella of pharmapreneurship.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for that. So the next question has to do with, what do you believe will be your legacy in 20 years? And I rephrase this because legacy is pretty daunting. But to reflect on your, what are you most proud of in terms of your contributions that has helped advance the pharmacy profession?
Yeah, so I think that what I'm more proud of is that through my career, I've been able to bring to reality some practices and ideas that, believe me, many times people told me it wasn't possible, you can't do that, that's not going to work. And so having, the ability to be able to show and implement programs that people can see and very gratifying that other people have emulated and have taken and now, are doing even bigger things than what I was doing. So when I reflect on those 20 years, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is when I changed my emphasis from ambulatory care clinics at the VA, while I always continue to have my VA clinic and serving those heroes of ours, I started to work more in community pharmacy. I always saw a potential for community pharmacies to be really healthcare centers. And I saw the potential of that access that we have to patients. How do we maximize that? So I was very also lucky that one of the chains in Maryland, the Giant Pharmacy, that they're called, is a regional chain. Rose Fair, who directed, the pharmacy, saw in me the potential to partner with the School of Pharmacy to start developing those clinical services. We were able at that time, and I'm talking about early 90s, to develop a diabetes care center in their stores. And I was able to get it ADA recognized. So being able to show that these services could actually be provided for a community pharmacy. So I hope that, that's, to me, something that I hope I at least open the doors. And now we see that many independent pharmacies, many chain pharmacies do these services and provide these programs that are able to bill for them, which is key, and sustain it. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that a lot of the work I have done in the Center for Innovative Pharmacy Solutions, that I hope is a great legacy, leaving that center where we really, our goal and mission is to innovate and to really look for what are those programs where pharmacists can make a difference. So as part of that, even before coronavirus, I believe that telehealth was the key for the future. I saw that with this new generation and how technology was evolving, we needed to get ahead of it. So we opened a telehealth center at the School of Pharmacy about 3 years ago, and having the students be able to experience how is it to take care of patients using technology. So we have been able to, through that, develop partnerships, programs with the health department in Prince George's County. We still, since since 2006, we still provide diabetes and cardiovascular prevention programs to self-insured employers. So that has continued through the time. So again, just being able to see that, those little steps we took, or those pilot programs, or those innovative programs really change the way people perceive pharmacists. And we've been able to inform the literature about what impact pharmacists can have.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for those contributions. So what advice do you have for students in their professional journey, especially as they become leaders? Leaders, and often we think leaders to help advance change in the profession.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that. Sometimes people equate leaders or leadership to titles, and titles are not what we equate always to leaders. So we could be leaders in any aspects, of our life. We could be leaders, like you said. Even I tell the students, you are a leader when you're making that decision in every prescription that you see. Do I refill it? Don't I refill it? And you look for solutions. So I always tell them, instead of saying, well, we don't have it, we can't do it, what is the alternative? What is that, other way to help the patients to achieve that? So to me, my biggest advice is to be, to have a mindset of leadership, a mindset of innovation. I really encourage them to never give up, be an agent of change. Don't see something and always say, well, that's the way it is. No, if it is not the right way, do something. Be yourself, take that step to become that leader at that moment, looking for a solution and an alternative. And really always, I think my motto has always been keeping the patient in the center of everything I do. And if you have that passion for helping someone, to seeing that patient as your responsibility, I think that's key. Part of what we need to understand is, as we move in newer roles, it comes with a responsibility. And it's a responsibility to do your job, do it well, love what you do. I've been, I think, one of the luckiest women on earth that I have chosen a profession that I love. I love what I do. I believe in pharmacy. I believe in the power that we have and our role in society. And so when you have that passion and that love for what you do, it's easy because then everything you do it because you love what you're doing, and you do it with your utmost integrity, but also your utmost effort. So make sure that you reflect and develop that passion and that love for what you do. The second thing is, you have to create goals for yourself. Always create goals. Where did you want to be? And then start doing those steps to get you there. What do I need to do to get me there? I always say, dream of your future and create it. You can create your own future, and only you can do that by making those steps and deciding how to get there. And it's possible. Anybody can do what they want. It's just you have to be determined and doing that, and then keeping always your patients at the center and you as your own compass. You have to be, don't look always for somebody else to always tell you how good you are or tell you that you cannot do something. You need to satisfy yourself, your own self. As long as you do that and you satisfy what you do, you'll be a happy practitioner.
Very good. Thank you very much for those words of advice. So as this is going to be incorporated in a history course, looking at the transformation of our profession, as we study the decades of the 2020s, one of the key events in that decade will be the COVID-19 pandemic. And as we see other things in our history of our profession, things that happen externally shapes our profession. How do you see the COVID-19 pandemic shaping our profession, being an opportunity for the pharmacy profession?
Yeah, I see it in three ways. The first thing is, think about what COVID-19 did for pharmacists. For the first time, maybe in somebody's mind, we became heroes, isn't it? We were the only one of the few businesses that stay open. pharmacists really took a step and a risk, and many times without adequate equipment to serve their patients. So pharmacies stayed open. They were the few places where people can go seeking advice, seeking help. So for the first time in commercials or politicians' speeches, or even by government agencies, they use pharmacists as essential employees and essential professionals, and they call them pharmacy heroes, and they call them healthcare heroes. So I think that is transformative and something we really need to, moving forward, take advantage of that highlighted role that we were given. Number two, I think COVID forever changed the way we deliver care in this country. I was a proponent of telehealth long time ago, but wow, what can a pandemic do to open, like I said, the genie get out of the bottle? And I really truly believe we're not going to be able to go back to the way we provide care. We're not going to go back to the way where the patients needed to come to us. I think healthcare has been transformed where we have to go to the patient. Telehealth tools are going to be here to stay. And how are we going to incorporate those into our delivery of care? Patients are going to expect medications to be in the front door. So how do we innovate? I think it's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to really innovate in the way we deliver care, and what are those new tools that we can develop that are around pharmacy. So those are, to me, very key important points that that we need to move forward. And the third is that I think it gave us a sense of community and a sense of responsibility in society. So how are we going to be responsible to learn what COVID did, which is telling us that again, that there are other means to stay connected with each other without necessarily being in physical presence or necessarily being in a way touching each other, but how we develop alternatives and connections, and how the human mind came up with all of these innovative things.
Very good. Well, I really thank you very much for your thoughtful words and reflections. Thank you again for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.